Welcome back to another Powerful Piloswine video. I'm Gario,
And this is Sai.
and today we're going to look at our MBT. We're going to be recording the matches from this league. It was a doubles league run by Mams a lot, Mams from another server where we've been part of leagues with them before. He just messaged us and said, "Hey, I'm running a doubles league. Would you and Sai want to join?" So we did. We had a good time.
Yep.
So we're just going to go over our draft here, which is on screen, and talk about the ones that we had. Of note, we made some changes, so this is not the original draft. And
Yes.
Sai, would you like to talk about how the draft worked?
Of course.
hmm
So,
so
anyways,
we'll just go.
the way this draft worked was it was a Ubers league. We were allowed to pick one Uber, and then, as you see, a tier 1, a tier 2, a tier 3, a tier 4, tier 5, a Mega, and 5 Pokemon that we got out of 400 points. The only caveat was that we were not allowed to get more than one S tier or tier 1.
So, needless to say, your S tier is going to be the best mod on your team. So you're going to be seeing things like Xerneas and Ho-Oh and Dialga. Very standard, very powerful Pokemon. Because it's doubles, these mons just aren't as good. Of note, Xerneas had Geomancy banned. We, for round one, took the Pokemon we really wanted with the intention of going after Psychic spam, and we got Tapu Lele because Psychic Terrain is very good, blocking moves like Fake Out and other priority, as well as just generally hitting stupidly hard.
There is a lot of priority in doubles we have found throughout our play in this league. Like a
Moves like
lot.
Follow Me is priority. I mean, if you're facing a Scissors, Bullet Punch Fake Out is the very obvious one.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mach Punch.
being able to Aqua Jet, being able to stop a lot of these is just very convenient. Um, then the next one we took is a personal favorite of mine, Zapdos. It brings Tailwind to the table, as well as great defensive stats, and the ability to run the Psychic Seed, so it can boost its defensive stats while Psychic Terrain is active, meaning that it walls even more. And also, Heat Wave and Discharge hit both opponents with the chance to burn or para, which is
30% on both, I believe.
kind of fantastic.
And it's great because, as you can see in our other choices in this team, we have Pokemon like Crocodile and Piloswine, which both resist, outright are not affected by discharge.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, our next
Our
our next
Go ahead.
option is a Pokemon that I've used before, Suicune. It also brings Tailwind to the table. It's good. It's very good as a wall, as a rester, as a special attacker, you name it. It's pretty good support.
The fun thing about Suicune is that even though its special attack isn't the greatest, Combine Suicune is still quite potent, even in doubles, and it also gets Snarl, which of course lowers the opponent's special attack by one stage and hits both opponents, which is also fairly
Hmm.
convenient.
I do
Following up from
believe.
Suicune, we decided. So Lele and Zapdos were our only T1 and T2s allowed, so every other Pokemon after this, we were allowed to take multiples when we dip into our points Pokemon after that. Um, so the first Pokemon from the lower tiers we took was, aside from Suicune, was Crocodile, which brings Intimidate and Stealth Rock to the table, as well as a Discharge immunity.
And
And
Intimidate is very powerful in doubles. Get to both Pokemon -1.
it also is a Dark type, so it's immune to Prankster, and comes with Stab Knockoff. And really, that about sums up why we brought it.
It's a strong Pokemon. Personally, one of my
So,
favorite lower tiers.
of course, its name is Agnew from another
Nixon.
league we did, where his size 2 main Pokemon were Nixon and Agnew, his two very powerful Pokemon. I think Nixon
Ni-
was Alligator?
no, Nixon was the Crocodile, and
Hmm,
Agnew
right.
was the Feraligatr.
Oh, there we go. I knew it was there.
Cause he is
So,
not
do
a
you want to talk
crook.
about the fifth Pokemon on this list?
Well, it's the most powerful of Pokemon in the draft format.
The
It's
T4 Steel.
it's ya boy, Piloswine.
He's back and ready to claim lives.
It's got thick
I don't
fat.
know why claims so many lives, but it does.
I don't know how it keeps being tier 4s and 5s. Actually, I can see why it could be tier 4, But tier fives, it's always such a budget mon. It's
It's
great.
even at tier 4, I find so often that Piloswine is just hitting so much above its weight in basically every matchup.
Eviolite, thick fat, and honestly, its defensive stats are not that much lower than than Mamoswine's.
Like, its stats are pretty good, and of course, the Violite, very bulky. So there's Piloswine, which brings another ground immunity, um, priority Ice Shard, I guess, and Stealth Rock. We had to get the mascot. It's between the two of us. We both really love drafting this mon.
It's great, versatile, and we really hope it comes back in Sword and Shield. We hope
Oh
Eviolite comes
god.
back in Sword and Shield.
Our next Pokemon is the unsung hero of our team, the
You,
T5 legend,
you usually don't see this mon.
Masquerain.
It's Masquerain.
So, what does Masquerain have going for it? Well, it's
Everything.
that sticky webs,
It's
but
got
this is doubles. Do you really use webs? It's that sticky webs, and it's T5. Also, it has Intimidate. Also, it has Icy Wind, and the Hidden Tech String Shot, and also Tailwind,
and
and
also
also
a secret mouse
Quiver Dance.
tool that will help us later.
The mysterious
The
Quiver Dance.
the mysterious mouse tool of Quiver Dance.
Then we move on to our Mega, and it says they're Mega Metacham, which we actually traded for later. It was originally a Mega Latios, which we took with the intention of having a very powerful and bulky Pokemon to be benefited by Tailwind, and then be able to abuse the Psychic terrain. But first of all, it's a Levitator, so
Yeah.
doesn't get that. And second of all, it just wasn't very good.
Yeah, it wasn't. It didn't really synergize with our team. It's a decent mon. It did do it did do some work, but eventually it was just eh.
And like, because of its tiering, it actually cost points to take it as our Mega. So it actually ate into our points draft budget there
Yep.
for
Which
a
is why we
rather
switched.
underwhelming Mega.
Which is why we
Go
switched to the current mega, which actually gave us points.
go ahead and talk about the next legend.
The Legend of Mega Metacham.
No, not
It's
that legend.
Oh, next legend. All right. It's Oricorio, the dancer. Remember when I said that we had a secret mouse tool that would help us later? This is it. When you pair up Masquerain with Oricorio and use its ability Dancer, just miracles happen. These things are just amazing together. And Oricorio by itself brings a lot of options to your team. Like
Mostly in its typings.
we have four different typings: electric, ghost,
Psychic
fire,
and fire.
psychic. Yeah. And with
So we have
revelations
Zapdos and Baby Zapdos.
and revelation dance gives it a stab. Base 90, right?
Yeah, I think so. It's pretty good. It's better than Shadow Ball
And it also gives us tailwind.
and Defog,
Yep.
because thus far we've shown off actually Masquerain and Zapdos both also have Defog. No, the next Pokemon is also one of Sai's personal favorites. We have our second Fairy type in the Togekiss, which is very bulky, a Fairy type,
Serene
Defog,
Grace.
Thunder Wave, Serene Grace, Tailwind.
Aerial
I mean,
Slash. Air Slash.
That's kind of why we took it. It just has a really nice combination of moves that it can do.
And all around just good mon. And it in doubles, it gets things such as like Follow Me and
Yeah,
Helping Hand.
it's good.
It's a great fairy.
Our next Pokemon is another Fairy. I think we had a
Third
lot of those.
fairy. We had three. uh, yeah, we kind of like fairy types.
And this Fairy comes with Bellydrum. Surprisingly, this was not a T1 Mon.
It,
So
but
you compare.
with Ubers, we can see why it wasn't T1. But it was still steel.
It could have been a T1, but definitely not an S tier. So T2 made this Mon a steal, especially considering that it wasn't our first or second points Mon drafted. So this thing lasted quite a while into the draft.
Yeah, if I recall, we weren't originally gonna pick Azumarill. We just
It
because
was
we,
still there.
yeah.
So Azu is kind of reliant on Aqua Jet, meaning it's a rather odd pick to match with a Tapu Lele. But the thing is, we had so many like Tailwind setters that we aren't pigeonholed into using Belly Drum Azu. We can use other sets like Life Orb or Choice Band or Assault Vest because
And
we'll
there
be able to
was
patch up our speed between all of the speed control options that we have, despite not having
and
Trick
Sticky
Room.
Web.
Yeah, Sticky Web. I mean, Masquerain does so much. Stun Spore, String Shot, Sticky Web, Icy Wind. Like, it just does so much that Tailwind that we could pair these mons up with it, and it would be very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Following off of our Azu, we come to our basically third electric type in the Magna Zone, which also gives us a steel type.
Oh right, we did have like 3 electric types too. Huh.
And we also had no dragon, because that Duragalgi was also a.
No, we did have a dragon, Latios.
Oh, yeah, right, we did. Latios existed, I forgot. So, Magna Zone finished off our Fair Dragon Steel, and also trapped steel types that Tapu Lele does not like.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally why we got it.
And it's a very Pokemon. I'm really happy with this choice.
It's very good. It did its job very well. And you want to talk about the final one there?
The final mon, it used to be a Quillfish. It had Intimidate, Spikes. It had
Toxic,
Explosion,
toxic spikes.
Toxic Spikes as well. Explosion, Destiny Bond. I think I already
Mostly
said that.
intimidate.
Mostly Intimidate. It was a good mon. I've used it before to a success.
I've
Uh,
used it before to less success, but it's decent. It can get the job done. It's a poison type. It can switch
mhm.
in.
It's great in third
Absorb two
gen.
spikes.
Great in third gen. We decided
Unfortunately,
to
we ended up
replace
dropping
it.
it for Dragalge.
Yep, since we had dropped the Latios, we needed a dragon, and there were many options available. But Dragalge, being a poison dragon, and with its insanely high special defense stats, we
It
believe
seemed,
was a good choice, especially with all the speed support that we have.
and it also still kept toxic spikes.
Mm-hmm.
And adaptability lets it throw out some powerful hits. Now, Dragalge never appeared in a battle, but we had reasons for taking it.
Yep. It, it I wish it had come to a battle.
Same. But, now, with that, we can close off this video. Thank you for listening,
And we
and
will catch you later.
adios.